Hey, friend. Welcome to the second episode of the Oh My Goodness podcast with me, your host, AJ Smith. It has been a week since my first episode dropped, and it is currently January 21st, 2025. Inauguration Day and Martin Luther King Day was yesterday. And all week, I've been asking myself, what should the second episode be on? Do they need an encouragement of, hey, you've had a hard day. Here's how to take care of yourself? Should we dive into a topic already about, hey, here's how to listen to your intuition or your inner knowing? Or, hey, if you're feeling stuck in creativity. And then I even thought, hey, maybe we should do a podcast episode on what it's like to take the first step and then be like, oh, now I have to take a second step. And what does that look like? And the ways that we get stuck, similar to how this weekend I was like, oh, but should I do this or should I do that? And then yesterday happened. And I found myself thinking about what I thought this weekend. And then I got very sick this weekend. So I didn't record. But it was like, why don't we just tune into spirit and see what shows up? And so I want to encourage you, like I'm encouraging myself in real time, that sometimes we don't always have the right words. Sometimes we don't always know what's the right thing to say. And yet time keeps moving. It does that whole real world time thing. What is that? Where a day starts anew, even when somebody died, or a divorce happened, or an accident happened, or an amazing day happened. And then it's the next day. And then the day after, and then a month, and then a year. Time keeps moving. Time waits for no man, you know? And also, today was a hard day and a beautiful day. I live in Korea currently, and in the middle of my day, I got caught up on the news and everything that happened. And I was concurrently doing training for an RTA course, a resiliency training assistant on our base, which helps military people, both members and families and kids, show up with resiliency, which is something we joked about because it's a term that's thrown often around and can be quite exhausting when people say, be more resilient. And you're like, I have no more resiliency to give, right? There is no more sauce in the engine, or what is it? No more sauce in the pan. I have no more forks, spoons. There's some metaphor. If you listen long enough, you'll understand that my metaphors get mixed up quite often. You'll just have an adventure. But we were doing the next best right thing as much as we could. And I think that's all we can do is, okay, damn, okay, here's reality. What do we do next? And sometimes that looks like fueling yourself. It looks like taking the nap. Sometimes the next right thing is eating cake and crying in the bathtub. Sometimes the next right thing is going to bed. Sometimes the next right thing is going to the gym. Sometimes the next right thing is having a hard conversation. Sometimes the next right thing is going to work. Right. Sometimes the next right thing is picking up after your dog when it goes on a walk because you also need a walk, right? We're going for our mental health. And I think sometimes it gets underrated, undervalued, doing the next right thing of, but it's got to be bigger. And also, you have to survive. You got to keep living, my friend. This time thing keeps going and you're going to keep going. And so then what do you need to be able to keep going? As reality is doing reality, as time is doing time. Unless you have an ability to stop time, in which, like, I don't know. Yeah, I have some notes, I have some ideas. So just send me a message. But in case you're like the rest of us humans with no Molly Weasley powers and no time travel powers, then you've got to get honest with yourself about what the next right thing looks like and what's your role to play here. How are you showing up? And this isn't call out or call in. I mean, I guess maybe it is. If this resonates that way, then cool. Sorry, not apologies. I don't know. But I think a lot of us need to start getting a lot more honest about ourselves about what your capacity is and what you need to fuel it. Because I think running on empty, there's a lot of like, it's fine, it's fine, it's fine. But like, is it? Is it? And I had this conversation this morning about toxic positivity, and I run naturally high. And in our training, they were talking about positivity and positive thinking and positive psychology, right? Because if you don't know this, for so long, psychology was what's wrong with you. And then this guy, I think his name was Robert. I'm sorry if I'm getting that wrong. Seilman. I'll come back later and fix it. Probably not. It'll be in the show notes. And he was like, hey, maybe we should ask a question about what's good with people. What are the common threads with people who are thriving? Let's study that and then maybe help people who are not doing good get to that or bridge that gap, right? And so I want to ask you the same thing. We know what brings us down. What brings you down? What brings you up? What helps you catch sustaining breaths? I have a tool, I call it a cheat sheet. I learned this in my sobriety adventure. And it's called HALTO, hungry, angry, lonely, tired, overwhelmed. And if you're like, cool, EJ, I'm all of them. Lovely. Go to bed. Go shower, eat a snack, go to bed. Hit the reset button. You're like, I can't. I'm in the middle of my day. Okay, how can you be tender and gentle with yourself, right? So, like, let's just start right there. If you're like, I'm already overwhelmed, cool, big breaths. Just take a couple. I see you. I hear you. I hear you in the overwhelm. I hear you in the exhaustion. You're not the enemy. I'm not the enemy. We've just got a new tool to help you get some more ground beneath your feet. I hear you and how big everything is feeling right now. And sometimes when we look at a mountain and we're like, are you kidding me? I have to climb this. We're like, no, thanks. What is it? Let me just stay here. Da, 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 the world. Something, I don't know. But so often we get daunted by the really big things that we end up in freeze and can't get out of it. And so Halto is this tool, and it's originally Halt. But I don't know about you, but overwhelm is a big thing for me. So it's hungry, angry, lonely, tired, overwhelmed. And somebody's like, overwhelmed and tired are the same thing. I'm like, no, they're not. It's like sleepy and tired, right? Like two different things. And so you're gonna, if you have a piece of paper, you can grab a piece of paper. If not, this will also be in my blog in the on my website, thejoyweaver.com. And you can see this written out there, and I can take a picture as well. And you're gonna make a chart. And you can also think about this in your head. You can put this in your phone, and 0 to 5 minutes, 5 to 15, 15 minutes to 30, 30 minutes to an hour, 1 hour to 3 hours, and then like half day, full multiple days, Okay. In your chart, then go down and list what you can do to address that thing in that time frame. So hungry. You cannot make a full 4 course meal unless you have one of the aforementioned powers that you're not telling anybody about in 5 minutes. You can eat a granola bar in 5 minutes. You can eat a banana in 5 minutes. You might be able to whip up a peanut butter jelly time, right? And okay, in 15 minutes, you could grab a granola bar. You could make an actual sandwich, probably. You could maybe make mac and cheese really quickly or like a microwave meal, things like that. If you have 30 minutes, you can probably make a whole meal or order something in or like swing by somewhere real quick. If you have an hour, you can make a whole meal or like get some things out of the freezer, right? Like you can do more things and kind of hits more areas. And this isn't more gold stars or not. The gold stars is being aware. Awareness is the first step for change. If you ever work with me in any capacity in red tent or otherwise, you'll hear me say that a lot because I think sometimes we have this guilt for not doing things the first time we learn about a tool. I hear this often when people hear about a tool and they're like, I'm not good at this yet. I'm like, You literally found out about this 3 seconds ago and you're already saying you're not good. You haven't learned this yet. How are you supposed to be good at something you don't know, right? So can we just be like, hi, Shane, thank you so much for being here. Go eat some snacks, go eat some popcorn, go sit over there, please. We do not have time for your nonsense today. We have cool little things to do. So go through the list for each one. Anger. How can you process anger? You can call a friend. You can swamp it out. Swamping is a tool by Mama Gina. And so you listen to a rage song and you like dance and rage it out. Then you listen to a grief song and then you listen to a turn on song like a pleasure song. And that like makes you feel really good and like step back into your power, right? You can vent. I love Viking war music, like drums, like like this is my jam. It's what I like row to the gym to. Anger for me, like because that's also linked with adrenaline, right? Like think about these also from like a hormonal, what is your body doing? What is your nervous system doing when it's like this? When you're so hungry, like okay, we also need water, right? You can drink a glass of water in your 0 to 5 minutes. So for your anger, you can like punch the air. You can like do a dance break and just like violently shake, which you're like, that sounds weird. Well, you know what? You try it for 3 minutes and you see how you feel. And you'll be like, oh, that actually helped. Screaming into a pillow, right? You can rage journal. If you're like, I don't like journaling, cool, grab some red markers and just scribble on pages, right? So those are ideas. Um, Lonely, like calling a friend, writing a note, tuning into spirit, having a meditation, right? There's lots of different ideas. Overwhelmed, delegating, saying no, changing your schedule, adding some things to your schedule sometimes is helpful, like support, co-working, body doubling. Those are all kind of different ideas that you can do. Tired, going outside and just putting my feet on the grass for like even 1 minute when I'm tired, I'm like, oh, okay. Like it just, same thing for the overwhelm. So those are different ideas that you can do for that. Um, Also for tired, like quick nap. I got an acupressure mat from the thrift store, which was a really cool find. And that has been very helpful for times that I do not have time to take a nap, but I just have like a 5 minute or 10 minute break that I can go lay down just for 5 minutes. And I set a timer and I just like put on beautiful course and I just lay there and I go, breathe. Like, ah. And or maybe a full nap. Maybe it's also go to bed. I don't think we talk about just going to bed, how much that can help sometimes. Or shower. Shower is a great reset. So if you have this cheat sheet on your phone, it can be helpful for when you're feeling stuck. And something somebody said the other day, and they're like, I've just been so lazy lately. And I'm like, I don't, and this is my personal opinion. All things on this show are coming through the filter of me and whoever guests come on. Are you lazy or is there a boulder in the way to doing the things? What is blocking the way? If usually we don't like laziness, and you can't see me, but quote unquote, laziness is usually there's something in the way that is not letting you do that. So what's in the way? Can you pause and step back, step back, step back, and see like, oh, hey, what's there? Can we get curious about it? If you're feeling an overwhelm and freeze right now, can you be like, "Ooh, hey, body," and we'll have a podcast episode about all that later. But like, just tune in and be like, "Hey, what do I need right now? Am I feeling halto? Okay, which of those feels most present? If it's like everything, okay. If it's everything, drink water, drink a glass of water, see if you can eat some food, and then reevaluate from there." But like, does that make sense? Like, so often when we feel stuck, we're just like, "Oh, I'm just XYZ," or "Oh, it's just da da da," and it's like, okay, but maybe your nervous system is fried and you do not have capacity at this moment to do the next right thing. So, can we pause? Doing the next right thing can often be pause. What do I need? Do the next right thing. Okay, now that I have some capacity, now that I can think straight, right? Have you ever had a meal or a sandwich or you've ate something or a glass of water and you're like, wow, I feel 1,000 times better. You took it out and you're like, okay, now, okay, I'm here, I'm ready. Okay, what do we need to do, right? So often we don't realize how much capacity plays a part in how we show up in the world. And so if you're navigating how to show up, not just now, today, but in these next few weeks and these months and these years in your life, if you apply this tool of asking this question, you will be deeply surprised at what happens. I'm just going to be honest. My life has completely transformed since learning this tool. And this is also what helped keep me sober and get me sober, is treating myself like a toddler, which might sound stupid, but is also true. I think sometimes we think adults should have it together, but like we're just really animals. Like we're just toddlers in adult form. Like we still have these nervous systems that react. We still have the need for play. We still have this need for connection and sleep and food. And when we ignore those and we think we should be a robot and like, okay, we got to go do faster, better, and we're not actually acknowledging our basic core needs, we're going to do more harm than good to ourselves and the people around us. And I'm just going to say that like it is because it's true. When you have made choices that are not in alignment with you, I would bet you over $100 that you've been at least 2 out of the 5, if not 3 out of the 5 on HALTO. If you're 1 out of the 5 on HALTO, like that's normal. Like we're usually like, oh hey, like I'm getting kind of hungry or whatever, right? 2 out of the 5, we may reach for like a healthy coping mechanism. Like maybe we're like, oh hey, I need to like go for a quick walk, or I'm gonna call a friend or things like that. 3 out of 5, we may say something we regret, or we may feel itchy or like antsy or kind of like, oh, like something's off. Like I'm just in a weird funk today. 4 out of 5, we will definitely be reaching for an unhealthy coping mechanism, most likely, and probably say something we might regret, or do something we might regret, or show up out of alignment. 5 out of 5 is do not pass go, do not collect $100, go home. Like, stop, breathe, go get some water, go take a shower, go to bed, or just not even shower, just go to bed. Mouthwash. You know what I'm saying? So I hope this is helpful because I think sometimes we get so caught up in mindfulness and how we show up and but like nobody gives us like tangible tools. And I remember being so frustrated sometimes with different speakers or pastors or different stuff, and they'd be like, do be like X. And you're like, cool, but like how? How do I show up in a way that feels in alignment when everything is doing a lot of stuff? One of the best ways and tools that I come back to time and time again is, hey, am I also, do I need a nap? Hey, body, what do you need from me? Okay. Because when you have capacity, then you can do the next right thing. When we have capacity, when we're taking care of ourselves, we can then take care of other people. If you like anybody can do anything, right? Just because you can doesn't mean you should. If you're like, I've been running on empty for years. Yeah. And why are we making that a bragging right? Why is that something? I understand that in our system, that is something that is forced. Sometimes we don't have a choice, right? Like moms, I see you. Military moms, I doubly see you. And what if we could slowly rewire that to that doesn't have to always be true? Sometimes we have to do those things, but what if you also gave yourself some grace? What if you were the one to extend yourself some comfort and tenderness when you needed it? What would that look like? And if you're like, oh, hey, I can't have that, can we just sit with the both? With the, I've had to do this for so long that bringing this in and asking this question feels dangerous. I so hear you. I hear you. I hear you. I hear you. I cherished and like not idolize, but I was like, yeah, I'm busy. I go, go, go. I do all the time. I say yes to everybody. Like, no big deal. It's all fine. And then I was very burned out and I was having, in like 2020, 2019, I was having 3 to 10 panic attacks a week. You just want the honest truth of it all, of being like, it's all good and it's all fine. That's what was happening. Everything was great. My business was great. I was writing a book. I had a book deal. I was writing my book. I was leading 10 red tents during COVID times and I was having 10 panic attacks a week. And then I got sober and I had a lot of panic attacks. And then they ebbed and flowed as we got healthier. But like, I don't think we often talk about the repercussions of saying it's fine and not actually asking ourselves how our nervous systems and how our bodies are doing. And this isn't meant to be a lecture or a, you should do better. This is a, we weren't taught this and this isn't your fault. And oh my goodness, I see you. Aren't you tired? And you're allowed some goodness and rest. Just because you're human, you didn't have to deserve it. You just deserve it because you're a human. And if nobody else has told you that, you are worthy of goodness. You are worthy of love and kindness and tenderness. I'm so proud of you for how you've been showing up in your life and for the people around you. And my friend, now more than ever, you need to take care of you. This is not a shoving everybody else away. Screw you, I'll get mine. Like at the cost of, no, 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 no. This is a different metaphor. This does not involve pie. There's enough pie for everyone. This is rest. This is like Trisha Hershey. If you know the NAP, Trisha Hershey, sorry about that. You know the NAP ministry, the NAP bishop? Go look her up on Instagram. You must follow. This is about showing up in a new way of being. And honestly, if you want the full honest truth, you would have told me this 4 years ago. I would have been telling you this. I would have been like, oh my gosh, how silly, how ridiculous. We do not have time for that. Like, who has time for that? That's so childish. Here we are, living a more aligned, true life. And I made it through today in a way that feels aligned and grounded and true. I am in my body right now. And there are whole subsections of time that uh, I was so dysregulated. I was not. I was not in my body. I felt so discombobulated and disassociated, right? So I'm coming to you from a place of like, I get that this is a practice and this is hard. And also it's worthy of doing. So thank you for sticking with me in the second episode where we went a lot deeper than I thought we would. And also I see you and I love you and I'm so proud of you. You're doing great. And if you have any questions about any of this, or if you're like, hey, can you dive deeper or say more about XYZ, please send me an email, thejoyweaver@gmail.com, and I would love to chat, or find me on Instagram, Facebook, The Joy Weaver. And we're going to get through this one moment at a time. Take care of you, take care of your capacity, and hold your thread of the world that you want to see. Keep holding on to hope, keep moving forward, keep showing up in a way that's in integrity. Honor the humanity of yourself and the people around you. And drink your water and eat your carrots and have your cake, right? Because life is short. And also, like, chocolate is soul food. This is not the time to count the calories, right? Like, this is not the time to be extra hard on ourselves. Move your body in a way that feels in integrity to you. Take care of yourself. And if you're overwhelmed and exhausted, ask yourself the toddler question. Hey, you tired? This is me patting my chest if you heard that. Are you tired? Do we need a nap? Do we need a snack? Do we need a mood? Do we need a shake? If nothing else, shaking, even for 10 seconds, can totally reset your nervous system. Not totally, but it can help a lot. Another great book resource is Burnout by Emily and Amelia Nagoski. Your library probably has it because it was a bestseller and it's amazing. Okay, that's all for now, and I'll see you next week. Bye.